Welcome to Empowering Seniors. I'm your host, Katherine Ambrose. I am so excited to bring you this story. I've been thinking about it a long time, and I think you'll see why. Meet Chef Greg Cole. He's a local celebrity in my mind. He's come up with these little bit cookies, and he has all kinds of things to share with us today. So let's meet Chef Greg Cole. Greg, thank you so much for being on the show today.
It is indeed a pleasure to be back home. I consider PBS my home since I've been here on a couple of occasions already, so this is great.
We love it. But you caught my attention several years ago at the farmer's market over on the west side of town.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were pitching your cookies. And I can see myself in you and how you like to educate and market. And you were telling me back then that you taught marketing and you were teaching your students how they could market a business, think like an entrepreneur, and word of mouth marketing. And I just was enthralled. Plus your cookies are pretty tasty. So let's just start off right with the cookies. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I got to tell you, it's an interesting story in terms of how we started. I was giving those cookies out for Christmas every season, Christmas and Thanksgiving. And one day my wife said, why don't you just sell the cookies? And I was like, no one's going to buy these cookies. And besides, I like the joy of seeing people enjoy the cookies. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to at least try the farmer's market. And so I took the cookies out to the farmer's market, and boy, oh boy, was I ever caught off guard. They became an instant hit. And at that time, I only had one cookie, and that was the original Little Bits Gourmet Cookie Bites. And now we're serving up two different ones. I have a new cookie called Cocoa Mocha Bites that's actually going to outdo my original cookie, and it's for coffee and chocolate lovers. And of course, the original, I picked up the concept when I lived in Europe. I lived in Germany for a little over 3 years, and they have over there what we call a Pfeffernussen, and here we call them pepper nuts. So it kind of puts you in the mind of that. The only difference is that my cookies doesn't have all that sugar in it, and I started at that market with 7 diabetics, and now we're shipping to hundreds of diabetics globally. And so everybody now has a acute awareness as to how healthy my cookies are. So I enjoy that very much. And they're in the Weight Watchers program now and then beyond. It's just a great opportunity now.
Unbelievable. That is incredible. And it just started with you just talking at the farmer's market. But I could see how different you were compared to everyone else at the farmer's market, that they give so much of themselves to provide their product and be there for people. But you were like on a totally different scale, just so animated. And, you know, a marketer sees a marketer.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
salesperson.
And that is a true statement. And that's part of the motivation for me telling my students that I don't need a website. I don't need a Facebook. I don't need an Instagram. I don't need to be LinkedIn. All of these other social media things, I have none, because word of mouth is still the best gift that we could ever have in terms of promoting our product and promoting ourselves. I do more promoting Gregory Cole than I do the cookie. The cookie holds its own. Everybody says it tastes great. I'm going to believe them when they say that. But at the same time, I enjoy the people that come out, the camaraderie, the relationships that develop over the course of years, not just with my students, but with the local Wichitans, people that don't mind shopping local and buying local and supporting local. So that's where the bulk of my enjoyment and pleasure comes from when it comes to serving up my product.
Why is it that you are doing so much? Because even though you don't have Facebook and the website and everything, you're in high demand.
I can tell you, it has everything to do with the aging process for me. I know that I'm getting older, but I like aging. I've always enjoyed aging because every year that goes by, I learn something new, and I practice learning something new. But at the same time, I look at it in 3 different areas: the biological piece of it, the physiological piece of it, and the sociological part of it. And I focus on each one of those things to make sure that I'm being of value to not just myself, but to the people that are in my sphere of influence, my spouse, my kids, my grandkids. And am I really making a difference? Do I have impact on society? And I like to think that I do because of the relationship that I have with those that are around me. I enjoy being enjoyed, if that makes any sense at all. And I enjoy managing my time to the point where I don't work for anyone. I enjoy just being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I enjoy managing my time to the point of knowing that whatever I do, I'm going to be satisfied with it. So
what's important about time that you'd like to share?
Well, the one thing I'd like to share the most, and everyone has heard this from me, when they interface with me about time management, the one thing they'll hear is, the one thing that we have left on this planet until we are buried is time. So it's what we do with that time that makes all the difference in the world. And people find ways to keep themselves engaged in society via some people doing nothing and getting a thrill out of it, versus others that do volunteer work. I have a brother that does volunteer work all the time. But I like to be able to engage myself in society in a way that I know that is going to impact others, and that is time related. And so I still get people to come up to the market every week that says 7 minutes. And what they're talking about is, I tell people that you can accomplish so many things in 7 minutes. You can wash your dishes, you can vacuum your floor, you can do your laundry, and all of it takes 7 minutes. So a lot of people begin to realize that is the truth. And so they're becoming more active in doing things that they wouldn't ordinarily do because they're more aware of time.
That's really cool. So if you think about it, 7 minutes, how much you could get done. That's a big thought.
Unbelievable. And yet it's so true. And people from this show right here will go and try it, and all they're going to do is just laugh and go, you know what, I could have been doing this all these years.
And isn't that what happens if you procrastinate on something? When you finally do it, you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I just do it in the first place? It only took me 7 minutes.
Right, that's all. And so once we realize that, we learn to appreciate time and the value that time brings to our life. Because I enjoy the farmers market. I enjoy teaching for both the schools that I teach, both Butler and Southwestern. I enjoy interfacing with people on a regular basis. There's not a day that goes by where I at least don't say good morning, not just to spouse, but to people in society as a whole. Just get out there and engage in people. And when you do that, you find out more about yourself. You find out your authentic self. And that's what we all should be really living for, to find who we really are. And so many people spend time trying to find out that purpose of what we're doing. But truthfully, we need to find out more about ourselves so that we'll be able to be of value to other people.
That's beautiful. And that we're making the most out of the life that we have.
Absolutely.
It'd be a shame to miss knowing who you really were.
We only go around once. And I remember what I can consider a mentor, Famous Amos. And in fact, I bought his book. And not to highlight the book itself, but I used to hate when people called me the cookie man. That bothered me something fierce, because in my mind there was always a cookie man, and that was Famous Amos, because his cookies had made the shelf, he became famous, and all of that. So I didn't want people to call me cookie man, but I bought him here to Wichita. And he talked at a seminar that we had here. And we were, before I introduced him, because I did have the privilege and the opportunity to introduce him at this function. And before that, though, we were in the lobby talking, and I said, can you autograph my book? And he said, absolutely. And this is what he autographed my book. He said this. He said, hey, cookie man, do you have a cookie for the other cookie man? So I said, let me make sure I'm clear. You're calling me the cookie man? He said, absolutely. I said, can I use it? He said, absolutely. So now I don't mind people calling me the cookie man. You can call me the cookie man anytime you feel like it, because it feels like I've been sanctioned by the cookie man himself. But one of the things that he did say that I thought was rather interesting, he said this. He said, life is never really what it seems. It is always more. And I have lived with that motto for ever since he signed that book. It's more. Life is more than what we have right here. But it's just that we have to live it. We have to take advantage of it. And so many people I know just simply are missing the mark when it comes to that.
Maybe just waiting for an invite, or not quite sure what to do. And the only way you really figure out what to do is to get out and do something.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit more about what that means to you.
Well, we're here, and ironically, I'm going to use the word purpose, but we're here to serve a purpose. What that purpose is, some of us may never know. For example, I don't know. But what I do know is that I am here as a gift for not just myself, but to other people that are, again, in my sphere of life, to be happy, to love other people, regardless as to what your belief systems are, your values, your culture, your political perspective. I love people. and I will continue to do so until my time is up here on this planet. But I also respect people for who they are and what value they bring to my life, because you can learn something from every single person you come across on this planet. There is something to be learned from people that you interface with on a daily basis.
I believe it. And sometimes people you might or others might not think would have anything for you. If you're curious enough, they do have something for you that's very, very valid.
And I've learned that over the years, that it pays to respect other people. It pays to listen, more importantly, to listen. And we're talking effective listening. In other words, I want to hear what you have to say, and that requires my time. So I relate time to everything, but it requires my time to listen to you and to really see what's under the surface of what you're trying to tell me or what you're trying to share with me. But if I had to just give someone some profiles of wisdom, I would always say, share what you know. Just share what you know. It makes no sense to be the sharpest tool in the shed and everyone around you is in need. So I tell a story, whether that story is relevant or not. I have no choice but to tell people what I know in hopes that it will be of value to them and their life down the road.
So what kind of legacy do you think you're leaving? Let's talk about family as an example. A lot of times family, they spell the word love T-I-M-E. Sounds like one of your favorite words.
It is indeed. But family is important. And everybody has a ranking order for which they see themselves in terms of their belief system and values and all of that. I am a person that believes in a higher power, so that's for certain. And that governs me. It governs my thought process. It governs how I plan to interface with other human beings. But then right under that is family. I married the first woman I met in Kansas. I don't think that's a secret to anyone. I married the first woman I met in Kansas. We've been together for 33 years. We've been married 32 of those years 2 weeks ago. And so I'm thrilled to have made that decision amongst all decisions. I'm thrilled to have made that decision because she's my friend and she understands Gregory Cole. And when you can get someone to understand who you are and the value you bring to their lives, oh, that's a whole different ballpark. And between the two of us, we have 3 kids. All 3 are grown. The baby is 38. And so we have grandkids, and I have 2 grandkids here in Wichita. One is 9, well, he'll be 9 next week, and the other one will be 8. And the 9-year-old, him and I are born on the same day. And so that's a thrill in itself for me to be able to have a grandson that's born on my date. But I also have another grandson from my daughter that lives in Atlanta, and his birthday and my other grandsons here, they both have the same birthday. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So needless to say, I'll never forget my grandsons' birthdays. But I'm in the process of gleaning or teaching them how to glean some of the things that Pop has to share with them. We started this little ritual this summer of going to the movie, and we went 10 times this summer. And riding there, I would teach perspective, teach concept, teach time management, and all of those things, yes, to an 8 and a 9-year-old, because the sooner they learn, the more equipped they are to deal with society. And so on the ride home, I do the lessons learned. What did you get out of what Pop was saying when we rode to the movie? And it's amazing how the younger generation are so equipped to be able to respond, and respond in ways that we have no clue that they would say something out of their mouths. And granted, there's times where we've said out of the mouths of babes. Well, that happens to be the truth. But I'll tell you this, I've learned more from millennials and the younger generation below me than I have ever learned in life. They are so smart, and we do not give them enough credit. So younger people, and when I say young, to me, I'm talking 21 to 35 and 45. That's young to me now, considering I'm 65 years old. But they're just listening to them and the intellect and their way of making themselves indispensable. It's just immeasurable to me. And so they are walking, we don't even use the term encyclopedias anymore, but they're a wealth of knowledge. on wheels, because they're always moving, and they're always turned, their thoughts are always going, and they're always engaged. I too want to be able to think that way when I start becoming old, because I am aging, but when I start becoming old. My father is 85 years old. He's just as active today as he was when I first met him, because it's my stepfather, but he's still busy. He takes care of my mother, who's in a home for now with dementia. But he goes to visit her every day. And when he shows up, everyone that works at the facility thinks he is the ambassador, and that he works for the facility, both the staff and the patients. But he's there because that's his joy. His girl is there. My mother is there. So there's not a day that goes by where he doesn't go and visit, where he doesn't go and talk to her and share knowledge and all of those things. And that gives me hope. It's a motivation for me to be able to say, wait a minute, he's this busy at 85 and I'm 65. Imagine if I had 20 more years left, what am I going to do? How will I be thinking? What will be some of the profiles of wisdom that I'll be able to share with my grandkids that at that time would be 29 and 28? So I'm living now to really see what I can do to make not just my life better, but the lives of those that are in my life.
That's so sweet that they call you Pop Pop, and what kind of memories you're creating.
It's a meltdown when someone calls you Pop Pop. First off, they know it works. Let me just put it to you that way. The moment they say it, okay, what do you want? Here, I have this, I have that. So there's gain for them, and they're smart, and that's what I like about it. But to hear someone call you Pop Pop, and then and they want to be around you. And another thing, I go to the farmers market, and the young people, they want to stay and talk. At first it was the elderlies, I'll call it elderly people, because that is their only time to interface with someone else when they come to the farmers market. So I respect that, and I give them their time. But now young people are wanting to engage and to have a conversation. Why? Because they see me interact with other people. So that's the catch, not just the older generation. They see me interact with people, and they kind of want to know how you do it. And so that's what I'm learning too, that people that like your profile, that like your savoir-faire, that like your persona, they want to emulate that to some degree. They don't know how. So the best way for them to engage that is to come and start having a conversation. And I see it coming, and I invite it. So I start smiling when I see a young person come over, because I know they're ready to, they want to learn something. And I'm willing to teach them if that is the case. Why? Because I know I'm going to get something out of it. I automatically know I'm going to get something out of it. They're going to keep me young. And that's what I remain ever hopeful.
And you're really having an impact. You're modeling healthy behavior. What does a smile do? Because you attract people like a magnet with how live you are and with your smile. And do you think that more people could smile more?
I truly believe that smiling is a form of healing. I believe it is a form of medication. I believe it is a form of meditation. But I also believe this, that the more you smile, the more people see you for your authentic self. I don't put on a facade when I smile. It just doesn't do anything for me. But I do notice that when I do smile, others want to join in. And so we'll have a smile fest. I wish we had a smile day. We have all these other days, ice cream day, toast day, but have a smile day where you just walk around and just smile for no apparent reason, but long as it's authentic. Because I know this to be true, that if you practice smiling for 30 days in a row, just put on a fake smile if you have to, and wear that for 30 days, you know what's going to happen on day 31? You're going to be smiling, and it's going to be permanent, and it's going to have some real you that comes with that smile. So smiling is healthy. I've had people tell me that it is your smile that brings me to the market. It is your smile that kept me living when I didn't feel like living anymore. It is your smile that kept me going when I was in the hospital bed. And so I will continue to smile. There's no one in Wichita that have ever, and I repeat, ever seen me mad. Not one. because I don't go there. And we all have our own idiosyncrasies where we feel bad on some days and want to not be bothered on others, but you will never see that. Not in me. And that's where I say now you put on the temporary facade, because you don't want to have, people shouldn't have to see you in disarray because you fail to smile. No, smiling is great. It is an antidote. And so I will continue to do that as long as I live on this planet.
Wow. Boy, you've got my mind going.
I will continue to do it. I think it's worth it.
Your smile is an antidote. I think that's so true. It floods your body with endorphins.
It does.
And healthy hormones. So even a fake smile to yourself in the mirror does something beneficial.
And imagine if everybody understood that, though. If everyone understood that process, it would work for all of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how we can become sad so quickly. We think about the thousands of people that were lives lost in the flood just recently, and in the earthquakes. We simply that absorbs us, and it's a real impact. We mourn for those folks. But imagine the impact of a smile. That's life. Smile is part of our life, and it can permeate into so much more if we just are willing to try. Just give it a shot.
My husband and I, during Engaged Encounter many years ago, we learned the term life-giving and being life-giving to each other. And so that's what you're saying a smile is that you're giving life, you're smiling life into your fellow man.
I like that. My wife and I, we have our own language. You know, and granted, it's a love language, but we can finish each other's sentences. I understand people can do that. But there are times where I know what she's thinking, and I'll preempt it by saying, okay, nope, not right now, or that would be great. Or and she'll go, how did you know I was going to say that? I just know that that's what you were going to say. We laugh about it, but we do it now with regularity. So after 33 years, there's an assimilation that we have and we share, but it's based on mutual respect for one another. I respect everything she does. My wife has been on her job 44 years. She is the executive administrator to the Sedgwick County Commissioners. She loves what she does, and yet she doesn't share it with me in terms of what takes place on the job. That still blows my mind. She doesn't come home complaining about the job. She loves the people that she works for, and I get a thrill out of that. I get a kick out of that. Whereas me, I'm similar, but I would say something that would trigger an emotion to say, well, you know, they just weren't acting right today at all, you know, and I had to get with them via extra smiles, you know, just to make things happen. And we laugh about that, but fortunately, you know, we have the kind of relationship that others do, and we know it because they tell us. Others want to emulate, and that's a great thing. I don't think that's a hindrance. I don't think it's being a narcissist or conceited. I just think that if you are going to have people bring value to other people's lives, show them what you want. Show them what you expect. And so I show people what I expect. I'm going to show you a smile no matter what. And if you render one back and it's in kind, guess what? We going to hit it off. Me, you, your husband, the kids, the next door neighbors, we'll all get along just fine. Why? Because it's intentional. It's deliberate. And so when you do things that are intentional and deliberate, those things become immeasurable. Down the road, they become immeasurable. So,
what would be a final word that you could share that would equip and educate our viewers?
Just give. Just give a smile. And give of your time, because although it may appear precious, it too will be gone one day. So give.
That's for sure. And don't wait to be invited to give.
Volunteer.
Just give it.
Volunteer to give.
Greg, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your smile with us today. You're very uplifting and the perfect person to have as we're wrapping season 3 of Empowering Seniors. So thanks for being on our show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in. If you have questions for us here at Empowering Seniors, you can reach out to us by email, empoweringseniors@kpts.org, or call us at 316-686-4500. I'm Katherine Ambrose, and I'll see you on the next Empowering Seniors.